Welcome back. French major Dassault Systèmes is upbeat on India's digitisation drive. Dassault has announced that electrical goods maker Havells is using its expertise to digitise factories in India. Dassault believes it is well positioned to drive growth through mobility technology. I spoke to Bernard Charles, the CEO and Vice Chairman of Dassault Systèmes, on the company's growth blueprint, global uncertainties and their China Plus One strategy.
India is a significant part of the what we call AP revenue. Of course, China is also very dynamic, despite the fact that in the last 2 years it was a very special situation in China, even to just access on work with Chinese companies. But Japan is very strong. On Korea was weak but coming back. However, on the potential, on the growth dynamic, things are happening here, and especially with the intent to establish this kind of new high quality manufacturing network for all type of industries, and not only mobility or medtech or high tech or energy systems. We have great customers like Larsen Toubro, Mahindra, Tata Motors, and all these great companies, but also a lot of startup. So the potential is really here. And look at the population dynamic, the elevation of the education, on really the future in India is really where we should continue to build our partnership. We have the biggest R&D platform in Asia is here in India, by far, because we feel we are well protected from an IP standpoint. We trust the quality of people, quality of education. And to give you an example, I did an acquisition of a big platform that made almost all the COVID clinical trial called Medidata. And in less than 2 years, we started from zero in the medtech to almost 1,000 people now working here for that brand at Dassault Systèmes. So you can see the speed, even during pandemic time.
Currently, some of the challenges for the automotive sector, for example, one of the sectors that you assist in India, there have been challenges with regard to supply chain resilience, and also scaling up production. So how are you helping automotive companies or companies in other manufacturing sectors scale up production? What are the solutions that you're offering them?
Well, everyone has been suffering from supply. Everyone around, even the most premium companies, even sometimes more even. So that's a global problem, which I think is going to have a consequence of looking at more new supply and new sovereignty aspect. That's a specific question by itself. Now, what are we doing? I would say that today, manufacturing infrastructure of the best players in India has nothing to envy to the best abroad in America or Europe. I know that, and I see also them, like our friends at GBM. They are having plants in Europe. They are getting contracts in Europe, which means that they master quality, performance, and they can get the contract because they have a better value related to the cost. So I think it's more, the challenge is more now reorientation towards sustainability and scaling up a more consistent supply network. But unlike 5 or 10 years ago, best of breed can be done here.
Question on the global uncertainties. If I were to ask you one permanent impact on your business or businesses in Europe that you see as a result of the Ukraine-Russia war?
Well, of course, the energy question is a big question. How much will be the impact for our clients in manufacturing industry at large? At the same time, without being too provocative, it's accelerating our business. Why? Because frugality is now on the agenda. New ways to do things with less resources is on the agenda, as well as the sustainability life cycle of things. And this is creating accelerated innovation on material science, bioscience. If you look at the industry of the last century, not 10 years, a century, it has been based on very basic material transformation. Substitution to plastic, substitution to maybe certain categories of materials which are becoming limited in quantity around the world. So this material science, new thinking process is at the heart of what we do, and it's accelerating our growth.
Right.
Not to speak about chemistry and bioscience, of course.
Right. The kind of decoupling that we are seeing from Russia at this juncture, do you feel that it needs some amount of calibration, considering the impact it may have on European businesses, the European economy as well?
That's a big topic for debate. I think Europe has been taking a very strict position. We are in a democracy, and the social model, and same here in India. We have values. You cannot compromise too much on those values. This is a war considered to be an inappropriate, unnecessary war. We step out from Russia. We follow the rules. We even offer job to Russian good colleagues outside Russia. So we have been taking care of our people, but clearly the sanctions are very clear on. In our company, we don't play with those topics. We have so many strategic customers around the world. We follow the sanction. We not used to do politics in the company, but I think that this new balance is going to create a long-term effect. But maybe it's also solidifying Europe, and also identifying better what are the key country cooperation where the trust is there to build the future.
My final question, China Plus One strategy. How is that important for you at this juncture?
Well, obviously many companies in the world have been creating a lot of dependencies on China. At the same time, China has been developing at a fast speed its innovation, not only low-cost production. So the China plan, for example, on EV has not much to envy to other well-developed premium brand, and they want to export. So just that aspect will create a new position for India in that context. Because when the market is a consumer market, when it's only for low-cost production, it's one thing. But when it's coming for premium solution, it creates a new balance, and India has to play a role here. And remember, I think that everyone should keep in mind sustainability is changing all rules on every sector. So the current winners might not be the winners of the future, because sustainability will create new set of constraints on new set of opportunities that will change the market. Look at EV market. How many startups have been growing so fast? Tesla is my client. Most of them are my clients. They have redefined the game. We talk here about mobility as a service in India. I think it will happen, and probably will happen faster in India than anywhere else. Why to buy a car? Can I buy a service? Same with other type of services. So sustainability probably will prevail over the current political constraints.
All right, so that was Bernard Charles, the CEO of Dassault Systems, saying that he sees the greatest growth potential in India, and 25% of their R&D spends are directed towards the India market. Shifting focus to the used car segment now, Amit Kumar, the CEO of OLX Group India, is gung-ho about the sector. In a conversation with me, Kumar says that the used car market is already outpacing the new car segment in 2022. Here's a slice of that conversation.
The used car market is going through some really exciting times. The pandemic just proved a catalyst in the long-term growth that any sort of emerging market goes through. The used car market around 2015 was smaller than the new car market. Now we are around 1.3, 1.4x of the market. And by 2026, this is going to be a 7 million cars market. In terms of this year specifically, the used car market growth continues to outpace the new car market. It is typically 1.5x the kind of number that it shows. So if you look at the new car market, that typically grows between 8 to 10%. This year they're showing good numbers, while the used car market is at a CAGR of 15% till 2026, taking us to 7 million cars.
Right. I'd also like to ask you, how much are you investing this year into growing your business footprint?
It's an interesting question to ask for a Prosus Naspers invested company. We are quite aggressive in the way we've built our business. But unfortunately, I cannot share specific numbers with you. But what I can tell you is that the business is growing leaps and bounds. I think the big shift which COVID induced is in the user preferences of users wanting us to go to their homes to inspect the cars that they want. As a result, most of our business has moved from a retail center driven model to a home inspection driven business model. As a result, the top of the funnels for the business have become almost 3.5x. And that's the kind of growth that we've witnessed in the last 12 months.
Right. In terms of popularity among car models, what is the greatest amount of preference that you see among customers?
See, if you look at the last couple of years, the utility vehicles have definitely seen greater preference in the new car market, and the same is visible in the used car market also. So if you pick the likes of Scorpio and Cretas, etc., they've definitely seen an uptick of close to 150% in the demand that these cars have seen. In addition, I think fuel-efficient cars have seen greater traction because of the rise in the fuel prices. CNG cars have seen a lot of shortage because there is an incremental or increased demand because, again, of the fuel price rises. In terms of specific models, you will find familiar names which have significant market share, the Swifts, the Swift Desires, the i10s of the world. They continue to be an important part or a significant chunk of the used car market. The very sort of obvious reason is that the used car market mirrors the new car market trends that you see in the last 3 to 4 years. Plus, if you look at the geography split, we see North gaining traction because it was slightly less impacted from COVID. So it came back to feet and started seeing growth faster. If you look at the luxury cars, specifically, what we've seen is the luxury car markets in the tier 2 has grown at almost a 45% year on year, while in the tier 1 markets, you see that number at a more 40%. But the luxury cars have become slightly more expensive year on year across brands, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, etc.
Right. Finally, to also ask you, do you also see a lack of supply when it comes to used cars in the market? Is that a problem? While there is growing demand for used cars, is there a lack of supply? Are people postponing new purchases, postponing selling their cars or exchanging their cars for new ones?
See, there is a definite lack of new car supply in the market, fueled by supply chain issues, global supply chain issues, the chip shortage. Now, that leads to medium-term issues for the used car markets, which I'm hoping get sort of moderated because of the macroeconomic shifts that we are seeing in the market. But in terms of exchange supplies, also the OEMs and we have seen some degree of decline. But I think if you look at the overall picture, given that the used car market is going and growing at such a pace that factor is not playing out very big. I think the preference for used cars and the price discovery for used cars if you look at the used car prices in the last couple of years, they've hardened at least 10 to 12%. So there is that supply balance shift which is happening. There is some shortage of supply, but I wouldn't say that's a sort of significant factor impacting the pre-owned car market.
All right, clearly used car segment will see strong growth over the next few months. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of News Center. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.